In the 1955 World Series, the Brooklyn Dodgers upset the New York Yankees for the team's first and only championship before moving to Los Angeles. That series is also the first time 9-year-old Billy Walters placed a bet on sports. It sparked a lifetime of highs and lows, addiction, redemption, run-ins with the mob and the law, and a relationship gone bad with a golfing great. In a new book, Gambler: Secrets from a Life at Risk, published by Simon & Schuster, a division of Paramount Global, he details it all.
I've lived a wild and crazy life, and my editor likes to say that they don't make people like me anymore.
To call Billy Walters a character would be an understatement. In the book Gambler, he's written about his one-of-a-kind rags-to-riches story, and a lot more.
I never worried about getting broke. I got broke more times than you could ever count. If that had really been a fear, I could have never been a successful gambler. There's no way. That's just the way I came into this world. I can't explain it. My uncle, he was a poker player. I had 2 cousins, professional poker players. My father was a gambler. It was just a way of life in Kentucky. That's the way I was raised up.
Down by the Green River, where paradise lay.
He grew up dirt poor, raised in Mumfordville, Kentucky by his grandmother, reared in one of the town's pool halls.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Where his uncle would babysit Billy at an early age.
I was 4 years old when my grandmother started dropping me off at my uncle's pool room.
In time, Walters says he was hustling the grown-ups.
Yeah, I'm dead now.
Good shot.
Thank you.
Right.
For $5, $10, and $20 a game.
It's not your first rodeo. Good shot.
Thank you. My father would be very proud of me right now and
Yes,
tell me
he
to just
would.
walk away.
Learning lessons you can't find in a classroom.
What do you learn in a place like this?
Well, you learn everything. You learn about negotiation. You learn to play under pressure. You learn human nature of people. Those lessons I learned, I've carried with me my entire life.
From pool to dice to racehorses, Walters says he and his friends would bet on anything that moved.
How hard is it to make a living at gambling?
It's extremely hard. I really can't believe that I had the perseverance to be able to get to the point where I finally became successful. There were a lot of dark days in my life.
Cursed, he says, with the gambler's lament.
The thrill of winning is obviously great, but if you really get into gambling, I mean, losing can be almost as great.
You literally bet your house and lost.
I was in a bar, I was drinking, and I was caught up in a moment, looking at your wife and saying, look, I lost the home we live in, that's not good.
By the time he was 23, Walters had 3 children with 2 women. Even in his 3rd marriage to his wife Susan, there were all-night drinking and gambling sessions. In 1982, he was charged and convicted of bookmaking in Kentucky. He says ever since, he's only been placing bets, not taking them.
Do you remember the first time you came into a casino in Vegas?
I sure do.
Oh, yeah.
Walked into Caesar's Palace.
Choosing then to move to the one place where gambling was legal.
I came from Louisville, Kentucky, and I couldn't get enough action. All at once, I'm in a place I can get all the action I want.
Right.
His friends told him it was the equivalent of a dope addict moving into a drug den, and asked him a question.
What are the odds that an alcoholic and degenerate gambler with no money management skills could survive in a city that ate addicts for lunch and dreams for dinner?
It's true, and the odds of me being successful were probably, I think I put 1,000,000 to 1 in a book. I think they were probably 5,000,000 to 1. When I look back at that point in time in my life, I would think they had like 0 chance.
Yeah.
Call it what you want to call it, but it worked.
Walters eventually stopped drinking and began reaping the rewards as a professional gambler. Along with other business interests, he'd built a fortune worth hundreds of millions.
Yeah, we're going to play 5-6 to North Carolina. We're going to play 18.5 and 19, both numbers.
In a 2011 profile for CBS's 60 Minutes, he gave viewers a peek into how he and his partners used data and computer algorithms to help move the odds in his favor. And in comparing the risk in legalized gambling to traditional investments, Walters believes his final thoughts
I've been swindled quite a bit of money on the stock market.
Caught the attention of Wall Street regulators, who set out to take him down. In 2017, Walters was convicted of insider trading, something he vehemently denies. Wolters believes his one-time friend and betting partner, pro golfer Phil Mickelson, who was included in the investigation, could have helped prove his innocence.
I like Phil. I thought Phil was a friend. He had told me he had been interviewed by the FBI twice and had emphatically told them that I never gave him any inside information. So when I went to court in New York, he promised me he would come and testify. All I want him to do is tell the truth, nothing more, nothing less. So when we tried to call him in New York, his lawyer said he was going to take the Fifth Amendment. I'll never know, and you'll never know if he'd have testified if I'd gone to prison or not. I don't think I would have.
Wolters was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. He'd served 31 months. Released in May of 2020. Even now, he says he can't forgive Mickelson.
I can't, and I'll tell you why I can't. My daughter committed suicide while I was in prison. And I know as well as I'm looking at you that if I hadn't been in prison, I know my daughter would be alive today. So no, there's no way I could ever forgive him.
You write in the book that if you live long enough, you're blessed to have several different awakenings in your life. Was prison one of those for you?
Yes, it definitely was. You hear people talk about freedom all the time. And frankly, after being in prison, for sure I took freedom for granted.
Wolters has now added prison reform and worked to prevent recidivism to his charitable endeavors.
Hi, Bill.
How are you?
Along with his longtime focus on people with developmental disabilities.
You going to share any of your paycheck with me? Huh?
And at age 77,
You know, if you're looking to bet, I mean.
Billy Wolters is also still gambling. Except now, the world's most famous sports bettor is sharing all the secrets of his success. A mini masterclass within his book.
Why share that with everybody?
I'm not getting any younger, and I like gamblers. I love sports bettors. I want to see people do well. To a certain degree, this is my legacy.
Does it make you sad that I no longer have to go down there to wager on a sporting event, that I can just go click on my phone and do it now?
It's just the opposite of that. Ever since I moved to Las Vegas, I was dreaming of the day that someone could bet on sports and not be judged by somebody unfairly. You could do it in a legal, lawful manner. No, actually my dream has come true. It's just the opposite.
We reached out to Phil Mickelson's representative for comment. While we did not hear back, an attorney for Mickelson told the Wall Street Journal his testimony wouldn't have made a difference in Wolters' conviction, adding Wolters was found guilty on multiple counts, none, he said, pertaining to his relationship with Mickelson. And we do want to give a very special thanks to Backstage Billiards, the bar and billiards in Vegas. They allowed us to shoot that game of pool with Billy. By the way, he hadn't played pool, he said, in like 40 years. We had an absolute
40 years?
blast. Yeah, that's what he
With
said.
that shot?
Yeah, you got to read the book. You'll hear about playing pool. You'll hear about roulette. You'll hear gambling adventures. You'll hear run-ins with the mob. The man, the only way I can say it, he has lived a life, and it's a survival story. It's inspirational. He's no angel. He doesn't pretend to be an angel, but I think everybody can find something in that story that you can learn from.
What's the big NFL bet you're going to place this season based on Billy?
He told me I wasn't crazy to go with I said, I know you're going to yell at me for going to bet on my Lions because you say you shouldn't bet with your heart. And he's like, if you can afford the money, you can bet with your heart. There's nothing wrong with enjoying it.
An avalanche in his story? Because we
He did not survive an avalanche, from what I know. He did survive a mobster, Michelle.
There it is.